the energy of waiting is actually creating distortion in your field and delaying all the things that are meant for you to come into play.
Welcome to the Secrets of Being podcast. I'm Dr. Dawn Earhart Whitty, your guide on a transformative journey of personal development and discussions of universal truths. Join me and a panel of life coaches and spiritual leaders from around the world discussing how to handle some of life's greatest challenges. We will be sharing stories of love, faith, and inspiration with you, our faithful listeners, to live your happiest and most fulfilling life, full of purpose and passion for yourself, your families, and the world. We are here to be the change we wish to see. Let the conversation begin. Welcome to the Secrets of Being podcast. I am so thrilled and honored today to have Colleen Lindberg here with us. She's coming to us from Costa Rica. Colleen is a spiritual advisor and a wealth catalyst, guiding leaders into the version of themselves who can actually hold the power, visibility, and income they desire. And don't we all want that? Welcome, Colleen.
Hi. Oh my gosh, John, I'm so excited to be here and I can't wait to dive in with you.
I know, me too. I'm super excited about this conversation. I always like to start the podcast off with a quote, and I found a quote on one of your posts that I loved so much. A lot. I saw a lot of things on your post that I really like a lot, but this one really hit me. The depth of our intuition, the wisdom of our soul blueprint, the ancient part of us that already knows exactly what we're here to create. And I love that because we all have a soul. I call them soul prints, right?
Yeah.
It's that part of us that knows more than the world has told us and maybe kind of made us shut it down. So can you talk a little bit about your journey? First of all, how did you even get to be doing this kind of work?
Oh, well, I kind of got thrown into the work, how that storyline kind of comes about. I was working full time and not loving my life at all. And literally every single day I go into work to be like, I can't believe I work here. This place sucks. And I hate it. All the things that we say when we're in disconnection in our life, but we don't realize we're in disconnection. This was 20 years ago. And I ended up meeting a mentor who took me under his wing for a year. And I got my first kind of thirst for entrepreneurship through him and coaching. And a couple years later, I literally just jumped out. It's been 17 years this month that I've been in business, and I just trusted the pathway. And through that journey, I met my first spiritual mentor at the same time that I started the company and just started running in the space of everything, literally in that desire of I know that there's more to life than just this, and I'm meant for big impact, and I'm meant to lead, and I'm meant to step into the space, but just not knowing how. And it was over the years, it kept getting refined and refined and refined. And it's here we are now in 2026, and it's I'm fully in my power. I know exactly my laneway and where I'm meant to serve. And it's just yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah, so that journey is very interesting because how many people do jobs that they hate? They're in a corporate life or whatever world it is, and they don't like it, but this is all they know and this is all they can do, and they keep doing it anyway. And what was the impetus that got you to say, no more, I'm not doing that anymore?
Yeah, well, actually, what actually transpired was my spiritual mentor gave me a clearing. And at the time, she was like, look, I really need you to understand that your whole life's about to change when we do this. And all I knew, I'd never done energy clearings before. I'd never had any of this done. All I knew was I had to say yes. And so so at the time I was making $1,000 a month, if you can imagine this. My mentor was keeping me tightly wound in his energetic field as a puppeteered kind of energy. This is a whole big thing. I'm trying to give you the Coles Notes version. And she cleared the field, and all of a sudden, all these illusions popped, and I started to see life for what it was. He wasn't the man I thought he was. He was stealing money from all these people. He was keeping me contained because he could see my talent. So he was only paying me $1,000 a month. And I literally took my phone bill payment to pay her that month just to get this done because I just knew intuitively it had to be done. And I just kept following that pathway after that. It was just I don't have any entrepreneurs in my family. At least at the time I didn't. Now I do. My dad started his company, I don't even know, maybe 12 years ago, but I didn't have anyone to model. I just went on pure intuitive trust that it would all work out. And yeah, some days was definitely hard. Like, let's just put it that way. Some days it was hard, and some days I didn't believe, and some days I didn't feel worthy. And then I worked through that and kept working through that. And then, getting to the other side of this, it's like, yeah, like we're always going to be on this journey, but really coming down to the root of like things didn't feel right. And I knew that things should feel right. And then I kept taking actions to make it feel right, and that's a simplistic version of it all.
Yeah, well, we're given this one precious life, at least to our
Mhm.
knowledge, right? I don't know about reincarnation and all that kind of stuff and how that all works out, but why spend it doing things we hate? Because, and they talk about people on their deathbed when they're facing the end of their life, the regrets they have. And
Mhm.
I want to live with as few of those regrets as possible. And doing things that you hate or you don't love is you're kind of wasting like this precious life that we've been given. So I've always heard, hold the vision, trust the process. Is that kind of part of how you got to where you are?
Yeah, like, well, it was more so like I knew I was meant for more, and that's where I kept striving. Like I was really back in the day, at least the first 11 years of business, I was in hustle mode, running meeting to meeting, meeting as many people as possible, trying to convince people to do business with me. Like that was the whole MO of the whole entire mechanism. And then in 2020, when everything slowed down, it was like we were forced to look at things and reevaluate. And my very pragmatic business consulting coaching company started moving into the spiritual side, which I'd done all the personal work, but I hadn't brought it to life, let's just say in the world. Like I was doing sessions here and there if you got referred to me, but I never promoted any of it. Like you wouldn't have known, you wouldn't have thought. Like if we were at coffee maybe together, I would have talked to you about it. But it was like I kept it so quietly lit. And I don't know, I just keep following the calling. And that's really the process that I've moved through is like I launch the thing, I keep stepping behind it, I keep moving through, I keep doing the things, I keep listening, even if it doesn't make sense, especially when it doesn't make sense. And I just keep maneuvering. So I guess it is like see the vision and trust the process, but it's like, it was kind of a little bit different for me because I still don't even really have a vision. I know a number that I'm moving towards as an embodied person of wealth, but I don't know how that's going to play out. Like, I can't tell you if I'm doing retreats in Bali or if I'm like just launching programs online. I have no clue. Like I literally wake up every day. I'm like, what are we doing now? And it's like, that's how I live. So yeah, it's kind of so yes and no, I guess, like
And not everybody can do that. I mean,
Mm.
for real. I mean, some people, I mean, I know I'm a really flowy person. I go with the flow on a lot of things. And some people that are much more organized, they're like, wait, what do you mean? You're just going to go with the flow. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
that's just how I operate. But it makes life so much easier and more peaceful and happy
Mhm.
when you're not always like grinding. And a lot of the personal development word is like, you got to grind, you got to grind, you got to go out there and grind. But I really feel like that puts a lot of pressure on us that maybe we don't need. Like have the vision, like figure out what it is that we want to work towards, but we don't have to be so specific. I know some people will say be very specific, but be as
Yeah.
specific as you want to be because sometimes things work out way better than we had planned, even we thought in our minds. So like go with that flow of that. Now, I want to talk about you
Yeah.
live in Costa Rica now, and you had
Mhm.
told me when we talked the last time that you were living in the jungle. I want you to talk about that because not everybody's got to have that experience. I want to find out what that was like for you and what kind of things you learned from it.
Oh my gosh, so many things. So I'm currently actually in the city here in Costa Rica now. That was an intuitive hit. It was time to kind of get back into humanity. But for 3.5 years, I lived in like the heart of the jungle of Costa Rica in a province called Putaneres, which is like South Pacific side of the country on the ocean. Literally could be up the mountain in 10 minutes. I could be down to the ocean in eight. Like that's kind of where I lived in the space of everything. And life is just different. Like you slow down, there is no rush for anything in life. It's like called Tico time. Like we're being in our world. And I really learned how to actually be a human in that environment. Like the power would go out almost every day for a short period of time. Sometimes it'd be 4 to 6 hours that the power would go out. There was 2 weeks of time where I didn't have water except for between 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. So I'd have to wake up, do the dishes, have a shower, if I had to do any laundry, and plus I had this old ancient laundry system, like, and so it took like 3 hours to do the washing, one load. So it was like I had to like fill up all the jugs for the day and whatever I needed to do. And it's just the living, like it's just such a different way of living. Like I don't know if I told you the story about my neighbor, but I literally, she's a Tica. And if you don't know the term Tico Tica, it means that they're native to the like Costa Rican. They were born here. I came out one day and she had her chicken like hung up on the fence ready to behead it for dinner. And I was just like just right there in the middle of like this little town. And it's just like it was so pure. Like and that's the thing that I can really emphasize. It is so pure, like so pure. Yeah.
And how did that affect your overall happiness, your overall well-being? Did you like you were surrounded by nature, right? Like there's
Mhm.
all kinds of animals and trees and flowers and stuff. How did being in that, and how long were you there?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Wow.
Yeah.
So how did that, when you moved back to the city, did you feel that difference?
Yeah, well, the first night, my nervous system needed some space because all of a sudden now it felt like I was in New York, even though I technically wasn't in New York. But that's what it felt like from the difference. Like literally at 5:45 when the sun went down, I lived on this mountain house that it was completely black. Like there wasn't a street light anywhere, like completely black, unless the full moon was out. Like you could barely see anything outside. Like you'd have to put on lights and everything. And coming into the city where all of a sudden it's like there's lights everywhere. So it just actually took me a day to ground. And here's one of the things, and people are super surprised because I'm sensitive to energy. Everything for me is about frequency and vibration. And everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe you regulated so quickly. I'm like, yeah, I did because I'm meant to be here. So it was an essence of my pathway, right? So it didn't have to be complicated and I didn't make it complicated. I trusted what my body needed that night and then I recalibrated back in. However, so we were in a high rise. I am now grounded like on the main floor of a place. It's like a flat kind of, and we're here for a couple months till wherever God leads me next. But technically I'm moving to the US, which is where the objective is coming into play next in the space of my awareness. But the high rise, when we got to the 21st floor, I started getting dizzy. And so I had to really ground because I'm so used to barefoot on a mountain, like right in the middle of nature. Like literally hummingbirds would come into my house to visit me. Like that's how it worked. And the hummingbirds are starting to come here, which is really fun. And the dragonflies are back and the geckos are back. And it's like all the animals that I normally would communicate with often are actually showing up here, which is really interesting because I'm in the middle of the city. Like it's not like there's a park next door. Like there's a construction site back here. Like it's so interesting how it all moves. But yeah, yeah, I don't even know what your question was, but I think I answered it.
Yeah, I believe you did. I believe you did. You had me at hummingbirds. So I kind of like,
Like, yes, they're so beautiful. And there's so many species of them here, like so many different ones, small, big, like they're like, oh man, they're beautiful. The dragonflies too.
I love the animals in Costa Rica. I've been twice. I had a retreat there a couple years ago and I
Mhm.
fell in love with all of the animals, but I do that
All of
everywhere
it.
I go. So that's just
Yeah.
a different thing. But you mentioned grounding, and I think not everybody, people might know of the term and what it means, but
Mhm.
what does that mean for you? Because I want to go out and be barefoot in the grass, hug the trees, like whatever. That is different than just, say I'm grounded. What does that look like for you? Because it's so important and we don't do it.
Yeah, well, we've been conditioned not to. So if you think about our lives, especially in North America, like I can't speak to anywhere else in the world really, but our lives are we get up, we hustle, we go to school, we go to extracurricular activities, maybe we have dinner with our families, we finish our homework, and then we go to bed. And like we were conditioned that way. And if you grew up, like I grew up in the 80s, we had spaces of time where we were able to play outside, but we were still under this energy of the matrix of go, go, go. And a lot of us have still that ingrained like energy within our field. And when I say grounding, it means exactly what it is, connection to the earth. So we ground into the earth. And so imagine being on the 21st floor. How do you ground, right? And literally, we had an earthquake, and like it was so funny. I was like, I'm in the middle of an earthquake on the 21st floor of a building. This is not okay. It didn't last long. It was like it wasn't as big as it could have been, all the things, but still, you're like, holy shit, like it's just like this is transpiring in the space of everything. But when when the energy started to get dizzy for me, and especially when I closed my eyes to do work with clients, because I do a lot of energetic work, I had to gradually close my eyes. So I take softness, I bring softness into my body, I breathe in little by little to let myself come into this present moment. And then I would imagine sitting on the earth, and I literally would close my eyes and I would breathe in until I could feel the earth underneath me, even though I was on the 21st floor of a building. And anybody can do this from their chairs at work, from, even in your cars, obviously not closing your eyes, but you could breathe
Please.
in. Yeah, yeah, please. Unless you're not driving, then have a good time. But you
Yeah.
could breathe in and ground. And grounding also is I am present in my world. I'm present in this moment with whatever is happening around me, and I'm grounding myself into this moment. We're not thinking about tomorrow or thinking about what we have to do in 5 minutes or thinking about what we did all day. We're just like, when we come into this moment and be here.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. So
Yeah.
you work with people, I'm assuming women and men, or mostly women, or how does that work?
Yeah, so
Both?
I do have a couple of men that come into my field every so often. A lot of my marketing is veered towards women, but the door's open. It's not like I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I can't, like if you're inclined, like I say, I got a gate around my energy. So like not everybody gets in, it's like you have to be willing and ready to do the work from a spiritual leader perspective to hold what I'm bringing forth. And some days it's potent and some days it's like not easy to work in my energy because it's triggering, because my job is to illuminate you in your purity of light. And so most of the time it's women, but I do have a few men that pop in every so often, and I love it because, yeah, I used to be like a guy's girl growing up. So I'm like, let's go. I can drop in. Yeah.
So how do you help your clients? What is it that, how do you work with them, and what do you help them get to? What level do you help them get through? If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's multiple ways people can play. I have a very like established brand, let's say. So from master classes to programs to masterminds to like I do these like juicy 30-day portals and things like that. So it's all like it varies depend on budget and depends on what you desire to have in the space of everything. But my job is to illuminate you into your like wealth coding, into alignment of soul mission, into your power. And when we do that, depending on where people come into play, I do work with a lot of entrepreneurs, but I do still have people come to me that are not entrepreneurial, that are just desiring to really connect in with themselves. We remove everything that's blocking that. So I do a lot of clearing work. I do a lot of like integrative work. We, step forth. People that come into my world make exorbitant amount of money really quickly. And I'm not saying that from a perspective of like, hey, look at me. It's like, when we clear the field and you step up in your power and you're actually executing there's a whole identity shift that like literally collapses. And now the $5,000 days that you're desiring are coming in with ease, or the 100K months that you've wanted forever, where money was really stagnant before, are coming into play. Now it just depends where people land with me in the field, but my job is illumination and it's liberation. It's like, how can I get you lit up so much in your life that you are fully liberated in all the facets that make sense for who you are? So.
Yeah, you mentioned wealth coding. Was that the term you use? What does that
Yeah.
mean? I've never heard that before.
Yeah. So every single, like, we're all sovereign beings and spiritual beings with codes and energies. And most of us have forgotten about a lot of this when we came to the earth plane. So I work a lot with like sovereignty of money to be able to open up those palettes again for you to connect into your birthright. Because every single soul on this earth has access to all of these: freedom, liberation, love, desire, joy, peace, pleasure. All of that. Wealth is one of those. And most of us have forgotten. We are not here to survive. That isn't the MO, but we've been conditioned to think that we have to. So part of my mission on earth is reactivating the wealth codes of unlimited possibilities, of abundance in your world, of your deep rooted connection with money, that money isn't separate from you. It actually is your frequency. And the more you align with the frequency of money, the more money comes into your world. And so I teach it a lot. I do like small little mini minds on money. But when people are in my one-to-one world, we really dive into these spaces of like commanding and being and claiming and like all this energy. So,
Yeah. I feel like people have a lot of limiting beliefs around money. What are some
yeah.
of the most common ones that come up for your clients and people you work with?
Yeah, well, I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy of having money and having flow. Working hard for money was like, it's been ingrained, I think, in so many of us, especially in North America, because that's the programming. We go to school and they keep dialing that in, that you got to work hard, you got to work hard, you got to work hard. So that would be one. One of the ones that I personally own, let's just call, from my mom, which I love and appreciate her so much, is that money doesn't grow on trees, right? And maybe you've heard that expression before. And
Yeah.
technically, money comes from trees, from an esoteric, like from a tactile perspective. However, it was one of those like, we are always limited. That was the conditioning. We never have enough money. Like, I wanted to go to the New Kids on the Block concert when I was really young, and my mom's like, Colleen, we can't do it. And like, I wanted to play volleyball and baseball and soccer, and I had to pick one because we only had enough money for me to do one. So I came from a very like limited money background, and my mom's done a lot of work in her lifetime now to be able to shift that. But it's like, that's the like, money is not available for us. It's like, we need to survive. We need to get by. Like, those are a lot of the work I do, and from the limitation perspective of removing that imprint wherever it comes from, and helping people really kind of own the fact that money is an energy. So you become the frequency, it shows up. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've all heard money doesn't grow on trees, money's limited. And again,
Yeah.
it's in our education system. Every day it's on TV, it's on the movies, it's everywhere. We're surrounded
All
with it.
over.
So I get why so many people have that belief system around it. But because you were surrounded by that too, you were able to break out of that and
Hmm.
absolve those limiting beliefs to get you to where you are. So what were a few of the things that helped you kind of, first of all, even realize that you'd been conditioned that way? And second of
Yeah.
all, like what was it that helped you break those limiting beliefs for yourself?
Yeah, so my first $10,000 month came into play by like hustling hard. Okay, it was in 2015. I pretty much, since that day, there might have been a few months in there that I've dropped down, have sustained that consistently. So for 11 years, I've done over $10,000 months, $15,000 months, somewhere in there, in the space of that. And how I got to that point back in the day was that I was listening and reading and hanging out with people that regularly did that often. Actually, my ex-boyfriend made 50 to $75,000 months easily by reoccurring income of stuff that he had done. And so I was in wealth coding already. He had a very minimalistic lifestyle though. Like, yeah, his house was worth $1.1 million, but you couldn't tell that he had that kind of money flowing into his world all the time. Like, he was just really kind of simplified. But it was like, I got around people and I got into an energy where people were doing that. So that would be the first thing. Next was that I was in entrepreneurship. So I knew that I wasn't capped by anything but myself. So I kept striving towards that execution. And at the time, it was, like I said, it was very hustled, right? It was like I'd work 18-hour days, 7 days a week, all this other BS kind of energy that I say in the world, because it's like, we don't actually have to do that. Yeah, some days I'm up working till midnight getting stuff done, but it's not because I have to do anything. It's because I'm choosing to launch this new program, or I want to get a different income stream up, or I want whatever in the space of that. But what really shifted last year to land me into $50,000 months last year and sustaining that now is, I got my energy field cleared. So I had to clear out the line because there was so much gunk in the space blocking money from coming in. And this is an actual thing. Some of you may not believe this, but it is an actual thing. And I can prove it to you every single day of the week in the work that I do, but also to the clients coming to me believe that. That was one. Number two was actually simplifying the business. So I took out a whole bunch of offers. I refined some aspects of how I was showing up, and I actually started to lead in my pure authority, not what I thought I needed to lead in, not what someone else told me I should do. And I started to launch like really juicy programs and stuff that made sense. I literally peeled the whole business back. I just went, nope, we're getting rid of that. We're getting rid of this. We're getting rid of that, because it was still kind of wrapped around that hustle. The more I have, the more I'm going to make. But it was like, no, we're now believing in this philosophy of, we can make what we desire like in simplicity. And now to get me to $1 million, like to 100,000 K plus months now, is I'm creating more back end energies. I've got so many programs and masterclasses that I've recorded over the years. And it's like now creating like funnels and evergreens and ad spend to move money into that space without having to like, let's say, work for it because they're already content that's recorded. And yeah, plus up leveling my prices and changing my price points and all those things too. So yeah.
Wow. That's an amazing transformation. And I think the work that you're doing is really important because again, we limit ourselves and we don't even realize we're limiting ourselves, whether it's money or love or happiness or joy. We put these limits on ourselves that they're not real. They're
Yeah.
just in our heads.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes an outside person to help us see, like, get to that 30,000 foot perspective. Like, I have very dear friends in my life who help me get to that 30,000 foot perspective because I'm in the middle of it, right?
Of
I can't see it. I
course.
can only see what I can see, but somebody else has that bird's eye view and they can say, okay, this is a blind spot. Maybe you're not
Yeah.
seeing what I'm seeing. So I think the work you're doing is amazing. I love your
Thank you.
philosophy. I love that you're living in Costa Rica. And if you want to switch places,
Well, I'm coming to the US, so God's already told me I just got to get all the visas in place. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Canadian. So I qualify to actually get a certain visa in the US because of the way I do business, because I do more than 50% of my income from US citizens. So I actually qualify to come on a certain visa. So once that lands, I'm coming. So like I'm supposed to be visible, like my next phase of the business is there. Like I'm listening. That's how I do life. Like I just am like, okay. I'll action behind the drop-ins and I'll keep maneuvering. So yeah.
yeah, and isn't it funny that sometimes we get these thoughts in our heads, like maybe it's intuition or our soul speaking to us, or what, however you want to call it, that you're like, where did that come from? Like, where did that thought or that idea come from? But I try to always listen to that because I'm like, if it sounds kind of random, then maybe there's something more to that.
Oh yeah. I follow everything now. Like I've learned through the years that when I don't, stuff happens that I don't want to have happen. So I don't even question it anymore. I just keep stepping in and I'm just like, okay, here we are.
Keep saying yes, just keep saying yes.
Yeah, like, let's go. And it doesn't make sense to most people, and it's actually quite funny. And especially later on when I find out why certain things happen, because I never get the answers until later, right? I'm like, oh, that's why I had to launch that, or that's why I had to make that call. Or even yesterday to like my old landlord at the mountain house, I just sent her a message. I'm like, hey, just felt called to check in. And then something happened with her son, and I brought in some clarity for her, and she was like, oh my God, I'm so happy you messaged me today. And I was like we don't know why we do the things we do, like in the world I play in. My job is to just keep doing them. And I find out later why.
Yeah, sometimes I will, and if people have heard this before, like somebody will cross your mind, like randomly, you're doing something and somebody just comes into your mental space. And whenever that happens to me today, I always like, I'll reach out and I'll text them. I'll say, you just crossed my
Yeah.
mind. I just wanted to say hello. And there's always a reason. Either they
Hmm.
were thinking about me or something came up, or there's always a reason. So I make it a practice now to, when that happens, to make a point of acting on that, because why did that person just randomly cross my mind? There's got to
Yeah.
be a reason. And now because I follow that, I find out why. And so
Yeah.
I'm much more confident in like following those thoughts because that's our soul speaking to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, well, so we're coming to near the end of the podcast, but I want you to leave us with one piece of wisdom that you want somebody to take away from our episode today, and then also let us know where people can find you, where they can connect with you, and we will include all of that in the show notes as well.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. There's never a right time. So some of us are always waiting for the right time. We're waiting for the to be ready. We're waiting for the perfect time. We're waiting for the money to land. We're waiting till we move out. We're waiting till we quit our job. And the energy of waiting is actually creating distortion in your field and delaying all the things that are meant for you to come into play. So here's what I want to say to you. There's never a right time. Just take action now on the things that's been on your heart and start to move it forward. Every step you take towards that, I guarantee you will bring in way more blessings than you even can fathom in your mind's eye. And it will be so much easier to do than all the stories that you've made up around why you need to wait for the right time. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I would say.
That
Yeah.
gave me goosebumps. That gave
Yeah.
me goosebumps. So that resonated huge.
Yeah. So I was like, when you were talking, I was like, what am I going to say? And then Spirit's like this. And I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a kind of like a rebel. So if you come into my field, you will see Dawn's probably seen a bunch of posts where I'm yelling at people and swearing and stuff. I do that
Oh, I
often.
haven't.
No? Oh my gosh. Well, even the post I made yesterday, and obviously when this podcast comes out, it'll be old. But if you desire to see the post, I'll send it to you. But it's like the clients I no longer work with, and I like call out some of the people in my world. And I've actually gotten some follows from some pretty high up mentors that I really respect because of that post. And I'm just like, it's just so funny. So, like, I do stuff like that. Like, literally, I have a lot of polarizing content. But if you love the vibe of this and you're like, yeah, I want to be called out or I want whatever, it's like, come find me on Instagram. And that's my playground. Yeah, I am on Facebook and stuff, but it's like, Instagram's where I play or Threads. I'm having so much fun over there. So it's like if you have a Threads account, you should come over into that space because it's a lot of fun.
Okay, I don't have it, but I will definitely check that out. But
Oh, it's like free for all. So it is like everyone speaking their truth on Threads. Like there is no holding back, and it's actually so fun. Like it's like actually really community driven. It's like it's a whole lot of fun. So
oh, I'll check it out. Well,
yeah.
Colleen, thank you so much for joining us and enjoy Costa Rica. Again, I'm not jealous of people usually, but I'm a little jealous of you because I love anything tropical, anything near the beach. It makes my heart happy. And so I'm a little jealous.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me, Don. I so appreciate the time and everything.
Okay, well, thank you all for watching this episode of The Secrets of Being, and we will see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Secrets of Being podcast. We appreciate your time and support. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more inspiring content. For further inspiration, visit thesecretsofbeing.com and join our community. Until next time, stay inspired and keep unlocking the secrets of being.